Week 14, the week where we seal our fate in most of our regular leagues to get ready for the 15, 16, 17 playoffs. Man, it's hard to believe that this is our last week talking about regular season fantasy football for the most part. Obviously, we'll have some of our viewers that may still be in their regular season next week. But for the most part, I think everybody's getting ready to head into the playoffs. And we lost Bryce. He lost.
Guess he didn't make the playoffs.
He is not in the playoffs. He did not make the cut. But man, it is. I mean, we talk about it every week. Season goes so fast once you get in here, but
sure does.
But man, what a crazy year we've had so far. How many freaking backup quarterbacks have we had to endure? With news comes out this morning that Austin Eckler, who's been a stalwart fantasy hero over the past 2 seasons, is now going to be splitting carries with both Isaiah Spiller and Joshua Kelly, and they're going to ride with the hot hand. That is not news that a lot of people want to hear, hoping that Eckler maybe turns it on heading into the playoffs. And then we've got maybe the start of the comeback story of Clyde Edwards-Helaire in Kansas City with Isaiah Pacheco out. So what are you guys looking forward to the most this week? Bryce, why don't we start with you?
Oh, geez. I mean, on the Eckler news, it might not affect you because dude hadn't helped you all year probably to make the playoffs, so it might not be too bad. Maybe if you stashed Isaiah Spiller, that could be exciting, like someone like myself has done in a ton of leagues. But this week, man, this week, I don't know. The 4:00 games, or the 4:00 game between the Bills and the Chiefs should be a shootout, and tonight's game could be exciting. But this week is a lot of potential of, are you going to make the playoffs in some of your fantasy leagues? For a lot of teams, this is the final week. So I've got one league where I got to win and I need someone to lose. And I think outside of that, all the leagues that I wanted to make it in, I'm in. So it could just be a little bit of seeding difference today, potentially. So I'm just looking forward to my guys hopefully performing and honestly just nobody getting injured, because it seems like every week I've been losing a lot of people. Ramondre and JT in one of my main leagues have gone down. So I just want my guys to stay healthy this week and win in that one league and that guy lose. What about you, Sully?
I'm doing okay. I'm still clinging to life in the Scott Fish Bowl into round 3 of the playoffs there, riding elite quarterback play like Jake Browning, and Tyson Bagent played for me one week. And but
DeVito, DeVito, right? You've played him a couple times?
I have hit. He got me into the playoffs, and Browning kept me going. I do get my Bills stack of Allen, Diggs, and Bass back today. So maybe I'll go, but I did have Najee and Warren on Thursday, so not a good start to the week there. Other than that, I got a few leagues where I'm trying to win. I think I've got a buy in 2 of 3 where I'm trying to win. I got a bunch of pretenders, like in Superflex, like we play in together. That team's terrible, and we'll make the playoffs and likely lose in week 1. And then I got a bunch of rushed rebuild teams that are doing well. So, but the season goes like a blink of an eye, man, and we're here in week 14, either trying to get in or trying to advance. I got some redraft leagues that are doing okay, like the Warrior Bowl and Polly's Playoff and things like that. So we'll see how it all shakes out, but it's fun nonetheless.
Yeah, I've got my teams are all pretty much set where they're going to be. I have a couple where I'm locked into the 3 seed, so I can't get to the 2, and I can't drop out of the three. So that's all right. I've got the Grand Prix where I really need to lose this week to get my number 2 pick back, because I'm on a 2-game winning streak after trading half my team to Bryce. And Bryce scores the most points, and I'm still winning over here. It's like I had just my team. I probably should have just kept. I probably should have just kept that team, and I'd be in a playoff race since nobody else wanted to win. But it is what it is. But that's my one shot at a Marvin Harrison share. So I really want. I really want a share of Marvin Harrison, and it's probably not going to happen now. So, but Lofton wants to know, do you think Aaron Jones is going to play Monday night? If not, should I start Clyde Edwards-Helaire? So basically, are you risking Aaron Jones playing? Are you just going to go with Clyde Edwards-Helaire that plays today at 4:00, as Bryce was talking?
4 o'clock. I'm going with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I looked up Aaron Jones when I saw this question pop up in the chat, and he was limited on Friday. If he got a full practice in, I would feel very confident that he was going to play tomorrow night. But with limited practices, and this guy's been injury prone his whole career. The Packers are playing for the playoffs at this point, but they're getting it done without him. And we've seen the Chiefs now kind of lean into that run game with the offensive pass game really struggling this year. So I really could just see Clyde Edwards-Helaire stepping into what Isaiah Pacheco has been doing and do it 90% as well as he has. I don't think either one is significantly more talented than the other. So I feel good starting Clyde Edwards-Helaire, even if Aaron Jones was expected to play, to be honest. Sully?
That's kind of where I'm at. I think the only thing that gives me a bit of pause is format. Aaron Jones will catch some passes. Clyde Edwards-Helaire most likely will not. That'll be more the Jerick McKinnon role for Kansas City. McKinnon's the guy I think, it's late in the season. He does this. Seems like he does this every year. Could just smash all of a sudden. Pacheco's shoulder sounds worse than the Chiefs are letting on. I'm not waiting for Aaron Jones here. The reality is, as a man who has Aaron Jones in a lot of leagues, it's a lot of weeks where I've started him, and I wish I wouldn't have started him. So I think Edwards-Helaire gets 10 to 15 touches minimum today and can probably score if the stars align. So I would go CEH here over Aaron Jones without question.
Yeah, with the injury, I'm in the same boat. I'm gonna go with CEH, and honestly, we've seen even Pacheco get more involved in the passing game over the past 6 weeks, right? Like they've just the wide receivers haven't been doing it. They've been using both running backs in that sense, and you just never know who it's gonna be though. As soon as you think McKinnon's gonna get a bunch of work, he doesn't, and that's what makes our game so fun, right? We think we know, but I think CH, like you said, I think he's going to probably get 15. I think he's probably going to get 15 carries. I think he'll get four, maybe 5 targets. I mean, that's what CH was known for coming into the league, and we haven't really seen that come to fruition. But with the way this team is built compared to the way the teams were built when he was the starter, it's a little bit different, and they need to use the running backs more out of the backfield to catch passes. So maybe he'll get cooked up a little bit in that. But as you guys said, even when Aaron Jones has played, he hasn't been giving us the 20-point weeks. We're used to him getting at least a week in there with 40 points with, 3 touchdowns and 150 combined yards on 5 catches or whatever. And we haven't seen that this year, which I really expected just because of the way that team's built. I expected him to be a big part of that passing game, and it just hasn't come to fruition. So I'll take that. But here's the other thing. We talked about, Bryce mentioned this game should be a shootout. There haven't been very many Chiefs games.
I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be. I think the Chiefs are winning with defense, and the Bills, I think it's going to be a lot lower scoring than most people think. I need it to be a shootout, but I don't think it will be.
I mean, with these two quarterbacks, any game could turn into a shootout, and maybe the Chiefs receivers decide, hey, maybe we should stop dropping passes since we're getting close to the playoffs, and it turns out all right. But yeah, that game's a weird one because I think it could go either way with that Chiefs defense. Okay, so we've got Cooks and Rice in a half PPR. So who's gonna cook the rice here and get the job done? Sully, why don't you start us off on this one?
I just took a quick look at my rankings. They're pretty close. I have Rice at 25 and Cooks at 32. So that's the way I'll go. I think if anybody's going to catch passes in that offense, it's got to be next to Kelsey and the running backs. It's got to be Rashee Rice because the other guys just can't get it done. So Rice for me, even in half, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's Rice for me as well. I know the Chiefs defense have made it to where a lot of games aren't shootouts this year, but I just think every time there's like a big game like this, the Bills come to play. So I could just see Josh Allen running for a couple of, even like he just starts running in these bigger games. So I think the Chiefs are going to have to score points today. If anybody doesn't score points, I think it would be the Chiefs, to be honest. But so I'll go Rashee Rice because I do want any part of this potential shootout.
That's where I'm at.
And I do think Allen runs more.
Yes.
I do think Allen runs more. Knox is back, so probably more 2 tight end sets.
If you look at like the big games of teams like the Bills and even the Eagles, like the quarterbacks run significantly more. Like Jalen Hurts might run 10 to 15 times today when he sometimes only runs like 5 to 8. So I think we'll see that today. But
I don't know if he's healthy enough to do that.
Hurts. Is he hurt right now?
Yeah, he's dealing with something in that knee. Like he just doesn't move like he was, but we'll see.
It's all in the name. You want to grab that super chat for me there,
Yep.
Bryce, and we'll get Tyler. Tyler Speary is up next. Taylor wants to know, and Taylor, thank you again. You come in here with the super chats every week, skipping that line. We appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
The 199 for Swift versus Dallas or Higgins versus Indy. Both of these guys, Swift has been more consistent this year, but coming off of a down week and playing against Dallas, and Higgins, we just never know what we're going to get from Higgins right now, especially with the inconsistent Joe Burrow at the beginning of the year. And now with Jake Browning, who had a great game, but Higgins didn't. Jamar Chase did. Which way are you going to go with this one, Sully?
I think I'm going to go with Swift. And I think, Swift is hurt by Jalen Hurts' ability to score in the red zone. He seems to score all the rushing touchdowns, but I do expect Swift to catch some passes. That's a game that I expect to see some points on the board. So I think that they'll have to incorporate all of their weapons to move the football. T. Higgins is awesome, and I love him. But I just don't know what to make of Cincinnati right now. I'm struggling with a Joe Mixon starter sit in the Guillotine League that's kept me up for half the week. Jake Browning was fun to watch the other night, but let's be real. That's not what we're going to get every week. Jake Browning is not the reincarnated Joe Burrow. I hope he plays well today because I'm starting him in a lot of places, but I'll go with Swift here. I just think it's a safer play. Bryce?
Yeah, with the information you gave me on Hurts being maybe hobbled, they might have to lean more on the actual run game with the running back today. So I'm more confident in Swift getting more touches with that information you guys gave to me today. So I'll lean Swift as well. Rick?
Man, oh man. I don't know. I just feel like that Philly's going to have to throw a bunch, which is when Swift really gets hurt. Because Gainwell, Boston Scott play on a lot of the passing downs.
Goddard's back too.
Yep, Goddard's back. I think I'm going to go Higgins. I don't love it. But Swift versus Dallas in a game where I think both teams are going to throw a lot. I think I'm going to lean that
Swift
way.
In the passing game?
It just he doesn't get nearly as involved when it comes to when they're in passing situations. Gainwell seems, especially of late, has seemed to be a little bit of a favorite in that regard. And I just don't know how much running's going to go on in this game. This is the game that I definitely do think shoots out this week. I think they both put up quite a few points, but are we gonna get that from the running backs in Philly? And with it being at least the two-headed monster with him and Gainwell, Boston Scott sprinkled in, it makes it a little tough for me to go there. But I mean, the same could be said. I mean, they're really close because Higgins, Tyler Boyd had a better week than him last week, and you never know which receiver it's going to be outside of Jamar Chase, and it makes for a tough one here. But I think I do lean Higgins a little bit. It's funny. Taylor came in with that super chat last week, and remember I said, I can't remember who the players were, but I said, well, start him if you're playing against me, and he was playing against me, and he didn't start him, and then whoever we really told him to play did crap. And he's like, oh, I should have started. I said, I told you should have if it was against me. I don't remember who it was though. But it was funny.
Thanks for coming back for this awesome advice, Taylor. We appreciate it.
Well, I whooped his ass anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. And I had a 0 and Logan Thomas both in my lineup, and I still whooped his ass. Sorry, Taylor. Thanks for the $1.99.
Yep. Peace out.
So we go from Taylor to Tyler, and he says, Goff or Love? I'm thinking Love, Metcalf or Pittman, and Dolphins defense or Browns.
Trevor Lawrence is playing.
Lawrence playing. Okay. Okay, so let's break this down first. Let's go with Goff or Love. Which one are you going with?
Goff.
Price.
Goff.
I'm on the Jordan Love side here. Pretty close. A couple of spots different in my rankings. Love at 10, Goff at 13.
Yeah, I don't even have mine up to see where
I updated this morning too, so they'll be different.
I'm guessing I got Goff. Goff.
Love's been on fire, but Goff's been way more consistent this year. Just can't.
So, Rick, let's go ahead.
Yeah,
and
we'll see what
sort
Goff
these.
looks like outside in not great weather. I think this is the time of year where teams really start to run the football, and I think the Lions will run it a lot more than they normally do, even though they're playing against arguably the best run defense in the NFL. I think they'll try to control more. The Lions have to stop either getting way up and blowing it or whatever the situation is. I think both are a fine start. I just think Love is rolling, and he's got the Giants, and he'll probably keep rolling. But I'd be comfortable with either one.
I literally have Goff at 12 and Love at 13, so they are very, very close. So I do lean Goff a little bit. I don't think we're to the running part yet. It's actually pretty deep. Well, I don't know what it's like in Chicago. I'm 3 hours away, but I mean, weather's actually been pretty decent around here, weather-wise or temperature-wise. Okay, so now we got Metcalf or Pittman. Sully.
I'm all on the Michael Pittman train, especially this week. Absolutely love him. I'd fire him up with confidence. Again, pretty good option there, but it's Pittman for me. I think he's inside my top 10.
The weather in Chicago is like 35 today and very little wind, so good for the Windy City. It's Pittman. It's Pittman for me as well. Dude's like a top 10, seems like fantasy wide receiver this year. So Metcalf's been super inconsistent. Has only had one huge week. Actually, he's been relatively consistent with a nice floor this year, but Pittman's floor is still higher than Metcalf's, it seems. So it's Pittman for me.
Yeah, with what seems like a comparable ceiling, right?
Yeah.
So Pittman's my biggest win of the offseason. I'm gonna keep rolling with him. He was the one guy that I felt like everybody was too down on, and he has just been a beast this year. If they can get that quarterback situation settled and healthy, Pittman's gonna be pretty damn good for the next 4 seasons.
I think he's double-digit targets in every game except for 2 this year, and those 2 are like 8 and 7. Like, he is set it and forget it type of starting wide receiver. I do have him inside my top 10. I'm at 6 this week.
Nice. I love seeing it. And guys, this is an example of like making sure you're fluid with your stuff, right? Like you were kind of low on Pittman coming into the season, and this is part of the process of getting that new information, learning, and adjusting to it. I was big on a lot of players that are now way down on my list, but this is an example of just being fluid as the season goes on. Pittman's just a monster. Okay, now we got Dolphins or Browns.
I'm going with the Dolphins.
I'm going with the Dolphins as well. Browns haven't been playing as good the past few weeks as they
who do the Dolphins play?
I should have the answer to that, but I don't. One sec. They are home to Tennessee.
Yeah, I'll take
Will Levis. Give me the Dolphins. And we did say it all last week. Like if there's one team or one coach that can find a way to score against the Browns, it would be McVay, and he sure did. Well,
yeah, but I mean the Browns. I think it's 3 weeks in a row they've been scored on, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that defense is starting to leak a little bit. Even going
they
back
spend
to
too much time on the field.
Yeah, even going back to that Indy game where Indy put up 38 on them, that's exactly why, because Walker couldn't do anything. And when Flacco's on the field, he just wants to throw the ball 75 yards every time he has the ball. So if they're successful, they score, and if they're not, they're 3 and out. So totally.
Lofton comes back. Cooper Kupp or Mike Evans at wide receiver? Sully.
Can't believe I'm saying this, but it's Mike Evans, and it isn't close.
Is Puka playing today?
Yeah.
He is. It's Mike Evans. It's Mike Evans for me. It was nice to see Cooper Kupp get in the end zone last week, but it doesn't seem like he's the number one target on that team anymore.
Six straight games for Cooper Kupp with less than 50 yards receiving. Figure that out.
Yeah.
I think it was figured out. I think
Puka's
just great. I mean, it's
and with Kyron back, it's even less Kupp, more Puka Kyron. So, and that's a team hunting for the playoffs as well. I think they move the ball around a little bit more. I wouldn't be surprised if Kupp scores, but he's not going to be that 15 target, 10 catch, 180 yards and 2 guy anymore. Sadly,
we're gonna see closer to like 8 targets and maybe 10 if it's like a real shootout or something like that. But
I'll take 8.
Yeah,
but Evans is on a heater, and Apparently Baker doesn't ruin every wide receiver he plays with.
Evan's been on a heater his whole career, it seems like.
Right? Hall of Fame
Yeah.
career.
He
Hall of
is.
Fame.
We had this discussion in our team chat. Probably, I don't know. It was probably a month ago now, maybe 5 weeks. Mike Evans has been one of the most consistent wide receivers all year. He's just putting up 14 to 25 points every week.
And
well, yeah, but I just mean he has been inconsistent in his career. Even with those years, week to week, he was inconsistent. He would have, he would have a 35-point game, getting 3 receptions for 3 yards and 3 touchdowns, and then, or I guess that's 22 points or whatever. But
still good.
Another week he would have 3 targets and would only have 2 catches for 50 yards and put up a 7 bomb, and then people just thought he was inconsistent.
It's another example of being fluid. I figured that Baker and Chris Godwin in the middle of the field would be the way it went, and that Evans would really take a hit. Clearly, it's the opposite. Godwin's wife was all over Twitter, all mad about, look, people got to settle down, man. You're winning football games. That's all that matters. So, but yeah, Mike Evans.
Yep, Mike Evans.
Long-winded answer too.
Okay, Mike Duke wants to know, CEH over Madison, Hubbard, or Swift in full PPR? I personally say Swift is the one that I start out of all these. Then I have CEH, and then I would go Madison or Hubbard, Madison myself.
Oh, sorry. Are we picking one of these?
Yeah. I that's what I think, but I just put them in order of the way I would go.
So I would still say Madison over CEH just because he has the potential to score a receiving touchdown, and that's a real nice matchup for Minnesota today. That being said, I probably have it ranked Swift without looking. Swift, Madison, CEH, and then Hubbard. But a coin flip on the last 2.
I think I'm going to stick with CEH here. It's kind of crazy because the only person I'm pretty certain is going to get the most usage is actually Hubbard, but he's probably near the bottom as well. But I'm just going to go with CEH having equally the highest touchdown upside here, and the way that offense has been utilizing their run game. I could see him getting 15 carries and, like Rick said earlier, 4 to 5 targets. So he's going to do what Pacheco does. They're just going to replace him.
Hey,
just
Mike,
not as well.
Tell us in the chat how much we helped you there.
Someone's got to break it in the chat for him.
My initial rankings this week, I had Pacheco at 3. And CEH is like 30-something. So there's a big drop-off in talent there, obviously. So we'll see. But yeah, I can't argue your usage projection. Joe Lindsay.
Joe says hi. And then he says,
hi, Joe.
Okay, we need to bench 1. Holy hell.
Jeezy Pete.
Nico, Mike Evans, Justin Jefferson, Jalen Waddle. I'm going to start us off on this one. So first of all, I think out of all these guys this week, Nico and Mike Evans cannot be sat. And he has this question because I traded both of them to him.
So Sauce Gardner doesn't concern you with Nico at all?
I just
100%.
think, I mean, he does, but they throw too much. There's no Tank Dell, and CJ Stroud has yet to let us down.
That's funny because I look at this question and I'm sitting Collins and I'm not even thinking about it. It's maybe Waddle or Collins, but it's most likely Nico.
That's who it's between for me. It's who gets the most. It's like Waddle's probably going to get the least amount of targets out of these guys, but I don't know. Does Sauce follow Nico? I just have a really weird. It's going to be a Noah Brown day today. I'm very confident in that.
It doesn't even matter if Sauce follows them because they're equally as good with Reed and Carter and all those other guys, right? Like that's a stupidly good defense.
Yeah, but Nico's really good. I mean,
Nico's good, no doubt about it. In a normal world where you have receivers like I do in my rosters, Nico's starting, but I don't think he is for me here.
Yeah, I can understand getting away from Nico here if you really want. I just think that they can't run the ball very well, so they have to throw a ton, and there's just going to be too many targets. If that Jets defense scares you off of them, then I understand going Waddle. But I think I'm sitting Waddle out of here if it's my lineup. But I get it. It's not a fun matchup for Nico. It's just they throw 45 times.
Yeah.
There's going to have to be some Nico in there, right?
I'll split the tie and go against every grain of fiber in my body, and I will set Jalen Waddle as well.
Holy dude!
I can't sit him against Tennessee.
Yeah.
I can't.
I don't want to, but I mean, it could be Tyreek Hill.
94% chance of rain in New York today as well, if that helps you.
Man, is it going to be a downpour? That might be something that definitely could change my mind.
13-mile-an-hour wind, 94% chance of rain. It says definite rain, and it's 58 degrees, so it's warm. It's just wet.
Man, 58 degrees.
I don't know. Rain's not that big a deal. Snow's way worse.
Right. Well, rain. Both of them, I feel like, help the receiver more when running the routes. Now catching the ball is harder when it's wet. But I mean, it's so close. It's so
I don't even know. How do I have them ranked? Let's see.
But let's look at it this way too. Like Nico's definitely got the ceiling here because Jalen Waddle has yet to show a ceiling pretty much this entire year. Like I don't know. Has he put up over 25 points this entire year? Maybe once.
Waddle?
Jalen Waddle. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he said one or two.
Yeah.
But so I'm saying it's Nico easy. I have Nico ranked 13th. So Evan 7, Justin Jefferson 8, Nico 13, Waddle 14. So I guess I'm sitting Waddle, but I don't like it. I would change that. If it was my team, I would sit Nico.
And again, I don't blame you. All these are such good options. So I wouldn't blame you. It's just funny that I literally traded him, Nico, and Mike Evans because my wide receivers are pretty good. I still got Debo, Garrett Wilson, and Tyreek Hill, and I got T. Higgins in that deal.
How many wide receivers do you start in that league? 3?
3.
Yeah, we can only start 3. We can't even start more than that.
So you can't flex the 4th.
Correct.
A stupid league.
And it's a 10-teamer, and it's been going since 1991. So they've got a little bit different rules than we would have now. But yeah, so I traded him those two guys, and I got Joey Bosa. Immediately hurt the first game that I used him. So I only got him for like a half. And I haven't played T. Higgins yet because he's got Jake Browning. So trade worked out great for me. Good Joey Dick coming in here. That's why he came in to ask this question.
Awesome question, Joe.
John says, should I stick with Geno Smith or start Baker Mayfield or Jake Browning? Bryce, where are you going with this one for John?
I'm going to keep Geno in there. He's going to have to drop back and throw it 40 plus times today. So I kind of want any part of the receivers in that game along with Geno Smith. Might turn the ball over a couple of times, but Geno's one of those guys I feel like that do step up in those big games as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has a heyday like he did against the Cowboys. So
they've listed. Sorry, he's a true game time decision apparently. Geno.
Yeah, if he starts, I start him. Obviously, if he is that a 1 o'clock or is that 4?
Yeah.
It's like the only decent 1 o'clock game on outside of the Bears and.
Yeah, so if Geno doesn't start, I go with Baker Mayfield. If he does, then I go with him.
I go with Jake Browning.
But I don't trust it after 1. Baker's been pretty consistent in the 15-point range this year. I would just try to lock that up and not risk it with the Brownster. But here's my question real quick. Would you start Joe Mixon or Tyler Lockett?
So I'm struggling so hard with Joe Mixon this week.
Joe Mixon got a ton of targets last week, did he not? As well?
Jake likes to check down, right? So the tight ends got a lot, the running backs got a lot, and the wide receivers didn't get a ton, but they caught everything they got. So I think he only threw like 4 incomplete passes, and 3 of them were throwaways.
Yeah, he was like 32 for 36 or 7.
It was insane.
Yeah.
Real quick on this question, I'm starting Browning over the other 2, and I would start Mixon over Lockett. I just think San Francisco's going to pound.
To be honest, I like Lockett 3rd as the wide receivers for the.
And that's what I've got. I've got Mixon in right now, but I was just curious what other people thought because he hasn't been very good all year either.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Jackson Smith-Njigba has the most targets in the last like 4 weeks for that team. Like even on the big Metcalf game, JSN had more targets than Metcalf that game. Metcalf just made bigger plays.
Which one are you sitting out of Metcalf, Sutton, and Debo? Half PPR.
Sutton.
I'm sitting Sutton.
Same. Rob says, what's up, guys? Locked in the playoffs in 6 out of 8 leagues.
Good job, brother.
Hell of a job, Rob. Good job. Good job. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us every Sunday morning throughout the season, too. That's awesome. We appreciate it. Got some awesome stuff for 2024. I can't wait. CXK says, Heat. What up, CXK? Our dude. Rob Kane says Taysom Hill or Kincaid. Who are you going with? Obviously, Knox is back. I don't think that matters anymore. If Knox would only been out 1 week and Kincaid was good, then maybe. But I think Kincaid kind of solidified himself as the number 1 tight end in this offense.
This decision's made for you. Taysom Hill's not expected to play today.
Yep.
Okay.
I do think Kincaid is impacted a little bit, but to Rick's point, not a lot. I think if the OC hadn't changed, it might be. But Kincaid is arguably the second best pass catcher on that offense, if not third.
I would say he is. I would say he's.
Yeah, it's between him and Davis, right? But Gabe's too inconsistent. I don't know if that's route running or targets or what, but Kincaid's pretty good.
Yeah. More news. Bengals. Tyler Boyd is active. It would have been nice for the T. Higgin questions if Boyd was just inactive. That would have. Well, you think it helps, and then it would have been Trenton Irwin.
Yeah. Put that guy.
Roman says, hi, fellas. In a full PPR, do we think Mitchell Keaton hits his projection today? Also, rest of season, Najee or Mitchell? So I don't even know. I don't have any Mitchell, so I don't know what his projection is.
Probably around PPR is probably around 16, 17, I would guess.
Really?
Who's Baltimore got?
They have Jacksonville, I believe. No, they have the Rams.
Rams are, I believe the Rams are tough against the run too, right?
They are.
You got Aaron Donald. They're pretty good.
Yeah. You got him in the middle. It'll work out pretty well for you.
He's not bad. I like Mitchell. I think he's going to get the work. So do I think he hits his PPR projection? I don't know what it is, but I will say yes. And I will take him over Najee rest of the season as well. Another guy that I poo-pooed that turns out he's pretty good.
It says on Sleeper his projection today is only 7.71.
Well, then he'll hit that.
Yeah, I mean, he's only getting roughly around 10 touches today. So, I mean, 10 touches. So, I mean, if he gets that today, that would be kind of tough to hit unless 3 of those are catches. But, I mean, rest of the season, it's got to be Najee. I like rest of career potentially Mitchell, though.
Yeah.
My problem with Keaton right now is that between the 20s, he's probably going to be pretty dynamic, but Gus Edwards is going to be the guy in there.
Yep.
With Lamar Jackson inside there. So the touchdown upside for Keaton probably has to be in most cases, a 20-plus yard run, right? Like they're just they trust Gus inside the 20s. Lamar running them in himself.
It'd have to be like a 3rd and 5 or 6 or something in the red zone for Keaton to get in there.
Yeah, so that makes it a little bit tougher for him. So I like Najee rest of season, but if Mitchell can take some of that away, it's not impossible. I mean, Gus Edwards isn't, Zeke Elliott in his prime goal line back, so it's not impossible for Keaton to eat into that. But I'll take Najee rest of season, but I agree with Bryce. Probably Keaton beyond if this is a dynasty.
Yep, I agree with that.
Especially since Dobbins, he'll get a chance to come back and be the guy, but he just can't stay on the field. So
Keaton's problem is he's only 5'8", and historically we haven't seen running backs that small typically have some sort of bell cow or even have some sort of bell cow role. So. No. But I mean, he's running the ball a lot more than running backs that small have been in the past. Usually, we just see him as like more pass catching backs, but
kind of Tariq Cohen like, hey,
yeah,
he's Tariq Cohen light kind of thing. Like Cohen was a little like thicker, I think, but Mitchell's shifty as heck, and he can catch the pass as well as anybody out of that backfield. And he's pretty darn good. But I think you're right about Gus Edwards in the red zone. And then just back to that Najee thing, I think Jalen Warren is more of a hindrance to Najee Harris than Edwards is to Mitchell, and that's why I like Mitchell a little bit more the rest of the season, but it'd be close.
I just think that Pittsburgh has two bad quarterbacks, and they're going to have to use the running back more and
That's fair.
new offense and all that.
Yeah,
that's fair.
So Rob needs to know here, Mostert or DJ Moore?
DJ Moore for me inside my top 10 this week.
yeah.
Great matchup for him.
DJ Moore for me. As long as Devin Achane is healthy, I really am very much down on Mostert, like moving forward this season. It sucks, but just the fact of the matter is Achane is deserving of the touches. So there's going to be a definite split in that backfield where DJ Moore, he's a wide receiver, so he can get all the points and targets for that team because he's by far the best pass catcher.
And he just talked up his boy Fields this week, said he wants him around, says he's having a great season with him. So Fields is probably going to come out and say, thanks.
It could be quite the dilemma this offseason for sure.
Thanks for having my back.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, I honestly don't. And I'll
Chicago has
it.
their quarterback. I don't know what they're thinking if they move off of him. Like, you've got no guarantees coming, and you can move that pick for a frickin' boatload again. Like, he's my quarterback if I'm the Bears.
They have so many options, and this is why I'm against moving off of Fields. Your defense is finally starting to come around. They're playing really well. They're, like you said, their run defense is best in the NFL this year. They've only given up 166 yards before contact, which is number one in the NFL. And the defense is starting to play really well, the Bears really should have won, 4 out of the last 5? Gave up the one to Detroit, and the other one that I'm thinking of when Bajent was in there that they should have won.
Probably should have lost to us, but you didn't.
Technically, if you look at that game, we really dominated most of it. The fumbles at the end are the only reason why we maybe should have lost.
Just didn't score.
But yeah, you're risking getting the next Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, or any of the other million busts that have been at the top of the draft when you already know what you have and that you can score and be competitive. Now it's just learning how to win, and that's what they need.
Well,
to do. I feel
like
like
the other thing, they have a ton of money in addition to picks.
Yeah, they own the offseason. Right now, you got 2 top 4 picks. You got all the money in the world. You just build around that offense. Your defense is almost there. Obviously, you need to add a couple more pieces to that, but you've got all the assets. You got all the options to do it. And then I think you get Marvin Harrison. If you really want to help your young quarterback, you get Marvin Harrison Jr., you put him next to DJ Moore. And if he doesn't do well next year, then you say, okay, we go out, we find a quarterback somehow. But you can't trade for Sweat and then say, hey, we might be 3 more years away because we're going to a rookie quarterback. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me when your defense is playing really well and you can just add to that and get competitive.
Go buy an offensive line with all that money this offseason. And
they only need a left tackle
pieces.
and a center, but you get your center in the 3rd round, right? You don't get centers in the 1st round very often, but yeah, or you can buy one. But I'm just saying, like the line has been pretty decent over the past 6 weeks. The left tackle is really the only thing that you might be looking at the top of the draft. If you can get a Fashanu or something like that, that'd be great. If you can get Marvin Harrison and Fashanu and add some pieces trading back, that's the other thing is you can take Marvin Harrison 1, and then if you got the 4 pick with Daniels, Caleb Williams, and Drake May up there, you can trade back with the 4 pick and get a bunch of extra assets and a future first probably because the 3 quarterbacks are still on the board. So,
or you trade back to the mid 8, 9, 10 and draft that quarterback and he sits on the bench and he's still in your organization. So anyway, thanks for tuning into the Chicago Bears Hour. We usually talk about the Pats.
Yeah, right. Hey, but I love it. It is going to be fun offseason. I'll be at the draft too, so I hope I'm there when we select Marvin Harrison Jr.
That'd be cool.
CXK says Superflex, PPR. We need to pick 3 players out of it looks like 6 here. DK, T. Higgins, James Cook, London, Wilson, Bryce Young. So London's out for me when I look at these options.
I have London over T. Higgins, so he's not out for me yet.
I'm going Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf, James Cook, and
That's it, right?
All you got. I have a hard time not starting the quarterback, even if
I
it is
know.
Bryce Young.
I'm going DK, James Cook, and Bryce Young. I was going to pick 4. That's what I was doing. I was getting ready to put Bryce Young in there, but
I'm with you on those.
I'll go DK, Garrett Wilson, and Bryce Young.
I like James Cook to catch a bunch of passes out of the backfield this week against that.
I think
that
he has
Chiefs
to, so
defense.
I'm with you there. That's close, though.
Oh, hey, we got a super chat down there. It's the same guy, so I bet he doesn't mind having back-to-back, so we'll answer this one, and then we'll switch, I guess, instead.
Or not. We'll
do them back-to-back either way. Rob, thank you very, 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 very much for the $2. Likely or Taysom Hill for the playoffs and PPR?
For the playoffs.
For the playoffs.
I want Taysom Hill in my playoff run. Dude just plays too many positions. I know he had a couple games there that were underwhelming, but man, when they get into the red zone, dude can score at every type of in any way with that, whatever possible. I can't even get the words out. So yeah, it's Taysom Hill for me. Likely he's just not really performing as well as I thought he would with Mark Andrews out. Which is a little disappointing, but so you can't just replace him and think he's going to produce at that same level. He's down on the totem pole. Mark Andrews leaving has really bumped up Odell Beckham Jr. more than anybody. So give me Taysom Hill as that Swiss Army knife to run, catch, and throw touchdown passes in any game this year. Sully.
Yeah, I can't say it any better than that. Hill's just
probably
always on the field in the red zone and likely to run, pass, or throw for a touchdown. So that's hard to top. So as much as I dislike Taysom Hill and what he's done in the fantasy world, it's him.
You forgot the third part: run, pass, or catch a touchdown. This guy can do it any way under the sun.
That is true.
I'm with you.
The way he can't get one is a pick six, I guess.
Well, you never know. I've seen him down there on the Hail Mary. So maybe he plays the Jets. He might get a pick six on a Hail Mary. You never know.
That would be hilarious, wouldn't that? That would be freaking great. Especially if he opened up the game with something like that, like early in the game, to where you can force the first player to ever have a pick six, receiving touchdown, rushing touchdown, and passing touchdown in the same game. Won't see it, but it would be fun.
It would.
Start one in PPR. Moss, Jacobs, J. Will. J. Will's out, right? There ain't no J. Will we're starting, right?
Probably not starting Javonte.
Who are they playing?
Oh, that could be Javonte Williams. That could be Jameson Williams. That could be.
I assume it's Javonte.
Jamal Williams.
He seems like he'd be in this question more likely than the others.
Well, I didn't even think of him. I thought of Jameson and Jamal Williams first. I was like, well, I know he's not asking about Jamal because he hasn't been startable all year. And Javonte.
I got Moss and Jacobs back to back in my rankings. Moss one spot higher. Minnesota's tough against the run. That said, I think I still go Josh Jacobs because I think he has more upside here. The floor play for me is Javonte, in my opinion, against the Chargers, but I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs.
I really just feel like Javonte Williams finds the end zone today, but I just can't. I'm not as comfortable on his projected usage that I expect these other two guys to get. Zach Moss was last week, but man, he got 21 touches. You can't really ask for much more. You can't ask for much more usage from a running back in this day and age than 20 touches. So with that being said, I'll go with him as well. Just with the fact that I think he gets more involved in the pass game than Josh Jacobs will be. And that's literally the only difference maker for me because the touchdown upside for these teams, actually touchdown upside probably goes to the Colts. These guys score a ton of points every week, it seems like. So.
And the Bengals suck. On defense, Cincinnati's defense is terrible.
I'll go Zach Moss to redeem us all of our picks last week, Sully.
Appreciate that.
It won't help. It will help Rick's guillotine league though.
I didn't even play Moss. I don't think.
I thought you did because you asked us.
Did you survive?
No. I remember a lot of his team were were players that I had in other leagues, and I lost like almost all my leagues.
I had Mike Evans and Michael Pittman on my bench.
Oof.
Well, that's the beauty of the Guillotine League. I'm trying to get Mixon in my lineup, and I can't.
Can I go back to last week?
I'll have to join a guillotine next year.
Dude,
Bryce,
they're fun.
They're awesome. I'll run ours. I love it.
I did one last year, like a couple of years ago when we really started promoting it, and I was out like in week 2 or 3 because I had like 4 guys get hurt in the same game. And I was like, well, guess I'm out.
No, I'm lying. I had Michael Pittman in my lineup. I had Mike Evans on the bench, and I started Keenan Allen. That hurt.
Did you start Zach Moss?
No, I don't even have Zach Moss. I started David Montgomery, Kyron Williams, and Rashad White at running back.
None of those guys did that bad though.
You're talking about a 3-team league at this point, so you can't have a 12.5 pointer from Montgomery and a 10 pointer from Keenan Allen. And I started Kittle; he only got 10 points. So, it was
real quick. Do you guys start of these 3? Who do you sit? Rashad White, Puka Nacua, Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon. Rashad White's been on fire. You can't sit him. Puka, again, targeted, crazy.
Yeah. I sat Mixon last week too. I started Garrett Wilson instead, but thankfully my team is freaking loaded and I kept going. So
you sit Mixon there.
So the other 2 options are Christian McCaffrey and Kyron Williams. So I think I'm sitting Joe Mixon.
Yeah,
I'm going Jacobs on that last one, by the way, for Rob. I'm gonna have Jacobs a little bit ahead of Moss, but it would be Jacobs, Moss, then Jay Will.
Yeah, it's close for me.
Same.
Lofton says Josh Dobbs or Jake Browning at QB. Bryce, where are you going with this one?
Oh, Jeezy Pete. Man, I guess I'll go with Josh Dobbs. It'll just come down to the rushing upside for me, which he came off a horrible performance last week. But you see that with these guys that are already like these journeyman quarterbacks. I mean, how often do we see Ryan Fitzpatrick have a game similar to that? Like just looked god awful, threw 3 picks, no touchdowns, something like that. And then the next week does the exact opposite. So I wouldn't surprise me if Josh Dobbs does that today. And he's got a huge weapon back today. So
Josh Allen does it. Allen does it.
He doesn't usually throw 4. He usually throws like 4 picks and like 2 touchdowns or something. Like he'll at least score some touchdowns. Josh Dobbs did I don't even think he threw a touchdown last week, did he? No, it was horrid.
Josh Dobbs, everybody knows the fun story about Josh Dobbs coming in off the bench after the rookie gets hurt and leads him to a win over Atlanta. He looked like he was unbeatable. Against the Bears, he looked like he'd never played this sport before, let alone quarterback. So that said, it's Josh Dobbs for me. Like I said earlier, I don't expect Jake Browning to complete 85% of his passes and throw for 300 in a pair. Maybe again in his career, and I certainly don't expect him to do it this week. And that's the X factor is Justin Jefferson is back, and it does so much for not only Dobbs, but that entire offense. It helps Addison, it helps Hawkinson, it helps the running backs, it helps everyone. So, and you add to that the fact that they play the Raiders, who aren't the toughest matchup in the world. So give me Josh Dobbs here, please, and thank you.
Yeah, we also got to remember again the Bears defense has been playing like this for a few weeks now, taking the ball away. They did the same thing to Jared Goff the week before, right? Like in a game they should have won, they did the same thing to him that they did to Josh Dobbs. I guess 2 weeks ago now, right? Because we had bye weeks. Both of us, Vikings and Bears, were on bye last week, right?
Yeah, I love Vikings bye week.
So awesome. No loss. I love it. Right. I loved it too.
Exactly.
No more losses. Still
can't lose this week.
2 weeks in a row without a loss. We haven't done that in a long time.
I can't say that, but yeah, I hear you.
But so I'm going Josh Dobbs here as well. I think we're gonna look at that as kind of a blip. I mean, he's not going to be great, but I think from a fantasy perspective, I think that Bears matchup was a blip for him.
I have him in my top 12, and it's not exactly a great murderer's row of quarterbacks this week, but what are you going to do?
Okay, so Rob comes back with the Gerald Everett or Brevin Jordan at tight end in PPR. So I guess my question here is obviously we've got that Jets matchup. We've talked about how we're a little bit worried about Nico because of Sauce and the cornerbacks. But does that lean you towards maybe some of that getting funneled to Brevin Jordan at tight end in this matchup with the beast cornerbacks that the Jets have, Sully?
I think with Dalton Schultz out, regardless of opponent or regardless of cornerbacks, that Brevin Jordan's going to be more involved in the Houston offense, and we've already seen it. We saw it towards the tail end of 2 weeks ago and last week. I'd be starting Brevin Jordan here. In fact, I am starting Brevin Jordan in the Scott Fish Bowl, so pray for me.
Prayers out, brother. Prayers out.
I will also go with Brevin Jordan here. I don't know if Gerald Everett is even the best tight end on this team. Donald Parham.
I think he is.
I mean, probably talented-wise, but I mean, he doesn't get the red zone targets because Donald Parham's 6'7", 6'8". So
yeah.
His snap percentage was lower than Brevin Jordan's this last week. So we're more than likely we're going to see that same trend this week. Yeah, he probably is a more talented guy, but he's definitely not bigger, and he's definitely not bigger red zone threat. So that definitely hurts him in the red zone. So I'll go with Brevin Jordan because
I'll agree with that on that. Parham is their red zone tight end.
I'll probably get. I mean, people would probably cancel me for this, but again, I think that Mr.
Herbert
down there in LA is over. I don't want to say overvalued. I think I compared him last year. I compared him to. I think he could have a very similar to career to Dak Prescott, and it wouldn't surprise me. He can put up huge numbers and have a good year or something like that, but it's just not. He's just not a consistent quarterback, and he needs super talented people around him to make him look better than or really good. I don't think he could do it with nobody around him. So basically, my point was that not only all of the other things that you guys pointed out, but I think Brevin Jordan's got the better quarterback right now.
I 100%
I think
agree.
I would rather have C.J. Stroud throw into my weapons than Justin Herbert.
Not quite there yet.
I was there about 4 weeks ago.
As long as the lights don't get too bright, Herbert will be fine. I agree. He's not a closer, and he pees down his legs in high-pressure situations. I don't know if he has those today, but he can get to 350 in a couple before he chokes it away and they lose the game. But I love Gerald Everett. He's a super athletic tight end. I just like Brevin Jordan's situation here more.
Marco from the future says, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to you too, Marco.
Almost afternoon.
Social worker comes in here. We can't blame Canada anymore, so he brings in the CEH, Dylan, and Kenneth Walker. We need to pick two out of these two.
Canada.
Which one you sitting, Bryce? Non-PPR.
Yeah, non-PPR makes this, I guess, easier. I don't know. I'm going CEH. It probably puts him at the top, being non-PPR, the highest touchdown upside, I'd imagine, out of these three. Then I'll go with Kenneth Walker as my second pick. AJ Dillon.
So you're sitting Dillon.
Yeah, he's just not very good.
Yeah, I'm sitting Walker. He's questionable with the oblique. Charbonnet is also questionable with whatever the hell he's got going on.
He is active today.
Yeah, and they got the Niners, and I think they split more than anything else. And Dillon's going to have that backfield to himself, and he can plot away for 3 yards per carry 18 times.
He's not guaranteed to have it by himself yet. That if Aaron Jones was out, it would make it a little bit different, I guess. But he might play.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But I'll take half of the Green Bay's backfield versus half of the Seattle's backfield, I guess.
Fair enough.
The reason why I won't do that is because Kenneth Walker can do one thing that Dillon can't, and Kenneth Walker can break a play for 60-yard touchdown. Dillon's not going to do that. Even if it is against the 49ers, he's done it in the passing game this year as well. So I'm going to be the same. I'm going to sit Dillon and play Walker and CEH. Here's what I'm going to do.
Do you think Dillon could break it on a 7-on-7 situation?
Oh, in a 7-on-7, he probably can. Because he can.
I think he might still get run down by somebody.
He might, but in a 7-on-7, I feel like he could. He's big enough. He can take out 3 of the guys, and then
that's fair.
Then you're really on a bad spot.
Incredible Hulk.
That's fair. He's them freaking
got them quads, brother.
Legs, man. Yeah, them quads. Marco says I need to start one. Zamir, Spiller, or McLaughlin. We're not starting Zamir White in any situation, are we?
No.
Only
if Jacobs is hurt, I might.
Raiders only.
Yeah, but
maybe?
I mean this week, like there's no wanting to start Zamir.
No. Who's Denver
and then
playing?
McLaughlin and Spiller are both in 3-headed monsters, but are probably likely to get more touches.
Denver plays the Chargers.
Thank you.
So Spiller and McLaughlin.
I'm not buying the Isaiah Spiller anything here. I think he's firmly third behind Joshua Kelly and Austin Eckler. McLaughlin is firmly third behind Williams and Pirine. That said, to your point earlier, McLaughlin's the guy here that could take 180 yards to the house. So he's the guy for me here.
Yeah, it's probably McLaughlin for me too. He's the only person I guess I'm confident gets like maybe 3 or 4 touches in this game, where the other guys could get 1 or 2. It would make sense for the Chargers to try and move on from, or like I guess implement Spiller into their offense. I mean, Eckler's probably gone next year. Josh Kelly, we've seen enough of him. Like, why not? And nobody's been good at running the ball this entire year for their team. Like, why not at least give him some immediate touches? But which they could, but I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah. This is rough that you have to start one of these guys, but it's McLaughlin if anybody.
See, I'm different, and the reason why is because the 2 backs that are ahead of Spiller have not been productive. They have not been very good. I would say that the 2 ahead of McLaughlin are better,
probably, yeah,
right now than the 2 ahead of Spiller. And I do agree, because that was going to be part of my point to this too. The Chargers might as well figure out what they've got with Spiller and game action.
I think we already know.
And we already know what we get. Josh Kelly's not very good. Obviously he's had some good games with 20 plus touches, but he's not very good. He's not very efficient. I'm going to go Spiller here just because I think there's more upside, because there's more unknown. And because if they're already saying they're splitting carries and taking carries away from Eckler, then that's big, right? Denver's going the opposite way. They're giving more work to Williams and Pirine, while Chargers are trying to go the other way and take attempts away from their top 2. So I'll go with Spiller. It's a crapshoot.
You convinced me, even though I talked myself out of it too, but I'll go with Spiller. We're probably talking about guys that are going to score like 6 or 5 points today. So
if any of these guys have a chance to end up getting 15 touches, it's Spiller, right? Like,
probably, yeah.
But if any of these guys have a chance of getting 15 points, it's McLaughlin. I don't care about touches. We've seen McLaughlin do it numerous times this season. We haven't seen Spiller do it in his life.
McLaughlin got 15 points this year?
Yes. He scored multiple touchdowns in at least one game.
McLaughlin has not scored more than 2.1 points since week 8.
Correct. He has been limited in that offense because Pirine has come on. But what has he done earlier before that?
He had a 16.4 and a 14.9 in back-to-back weeks, where I think he was the number 2 running back during that stretch, right?
He was.
Yeah.
They were, right? So as the 3rd running back, he has only scored over 5 once.
If Isaiah Spiller gets over 6 fantasy points this week, I'll be stunned.
I'll take the over if you want to bet, just for fun.
Let's do that. $5. The line is 5.9. I got the under.
On Spiller?
Yeah.
You got the over?
I got the Spiller sucks, whatever side that is.
Marco says Dobbs, Pierce, Reed, Addison, Hyatt, Wandell, or JMO start 4. So
let's do the easy ones.
Dobbs with Watkins out. Well, actually,
Reed.
Both of them.
I think I like Reed over Dobbs.
I like Reed over Dobbs as well.
Addison's in there.
I'm starting the first 4, I think.
See,
Alec Pierce is the toss-up.
See, for me, I think Hyatt.
Alec Pierce. I didn't know if it was Alec or
has more upside.
I guess they're all wide receivers, so it probably is Alec Pierce.
I assume it is.
Oh, I was thinking Damian Pierce.
I was too.
Damien's spelt differently, but that doesn't mean anything.
True. It is with an A.
JMO's interesting. I'm
going
all year.
Reed, Addison. Is it? I'm going to look at Wandale real quick.
I'm going Reed, Addison, Hyatt. I really don't.
Without Christian Watson, I'm starting both Packers guys 1-2 in this scenario. Addison would be 3, and then I struggle with the 4th one.
Yeah, I'll go Dobbs, Reed, Addison, Hyatt. I think Dobbs and JMO are pretty comparable. They're close for me for that last spot. If you don't want to start 2 Packers, then I would go JMO over Dobbs. But I think I like Reed the most out of the Packers receivers.
Yeah, I'll go Wandale instead of Hyatt.
I'm just doing Hyatt. We're week 14 ceiling.
Yep, he does have that bigger playability. Wandale more than likely will get more volume, and that's just what I've got to. What do I weigh? And I usually weigh for the volume, I guess, when it comes to guys of these caliber.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Alec Pierce. 6 targets in back-to-back weeks. I think him and Gardner got us something a little bit going on, and I think their matchup's okay. Who do they play again? Cincinnati. Yeah, the Bengals stink on D. I'm gonna go those 4. Dobbs, Pierce, Reed, Addison. I'll take the first 4.
Okay.
Mike says, haha, it helped. That was that one where I think we're all
over the map.
Answers.
Yeah, we're always over the map.
Kincaid. We're not gonna go too deep into that. It's Kincaid by
a
landslide.
Until we see Dawson Knox come back and make a noticeable difference, I don't know how you would get away from Kincaid. Isaiah's likely the wrong answer here. Good, I got one of those in this week.
You did it the other day though.
Every week, brother.
You forced
Stick around.
Though. That one you gotta let it go. You gotta let it simmer a little bit. You just like you.
I was like
just
coming out of my chair. I was so excited.
Henry Siegel says, "Yo, buddies, CEH or Higgins in a PPR?"
CEH for me.
It's CEH for me as well.
Higgins is going to have 50 points today because I've been against him on every question.
And I'm not starting him in the one league I have him in. Full PPR, Isaiah Likely or Jacoby Myers at the flex. Same thing. Jacoby Myers. He has been good all but like what?
Yeah,
he had a bit of a dip. He had a bit of a dip for about 3 weeks, but I crapped on him last week and he shut me up pretty quick.
Was it last week? Yeah, it was because I thought it was like. Where was last week is bye? I think it might have been the week before.
Sorry, it was the week before.
Yeah, but
it all runs together.
It sucks because we're going to see inconsistency from him probably the rest of the year. But he could be a super solid flex play, and Isaiah Likely hasn't been anything. So I'll take the potential.
Yeah, Myers was 2 for 38, 2 for 21, 4 for 49, and then he went 6 for 79 with a touchdown in week 12. Said, "Shut up, Sully."
Well, yeah, but he really only had the 2 weeks that really killed your lineup, though, the 2.9 and the 4.1 PPR points. So, been pretty good.
2 for 38 and 2 for 21 is not very good.
So 3 weeks under 9 points, basically. He's pretty consistent with a solid floor, and then he's got 20-point upside. So I'm going with Jacoby Myers easily here.
He's got 6 touchdowns this year. He didn't score 6 touchdowns in practice in New England.
Right. New England's
crazy.
So bad.
Yeah,
but thank you for winning and basically solidifying that number 1 pick for the Bears. I appreciate it.
Yeah, is that it for Mac Jones? Did that just seal his fate?
I mean, I think his fate was sealed when he lost the job.
I think so too, but that had to put some hammers in the coffin, right?
Yeah, I don't think I don't know. When I woke up to them winning, I was upset.
CXK says, "Thank you, fellas, so much."
Thank you.
Jaws, another old school in here. Still mad at Taysom Hill for that game. Roasted my Seahawks and had just dropped him in my main league.
It's tough.
Start 1, Ty Chandler or Joshua Kelly. Sully.
I'm going to go Josh Kelly here just on the news coming out of Los Angeles. And I know I say this a lot, but I really think Ty Chandler has a good week. I think this is the type of game where he can excel. So actually, I'm changing my answer. I'm going to go with Ty Chandler.
I love it. I love when we talk ourselves out of the
Homer.
Right in the
That's a Homer pick.
Hey, you can have him.
Yeah, I'll go with Ty Chandler here as well. I know they said Josh Kelly will compete for touches, but I would imagine that the team, if they're going to get any other running back involved, they should just do Spiller like we talked about earlier. So, 3-headed monster back there where Ty Chandler's just got to split with Alexander Madison. So, yep, I'll take Ty Chandler as well.
I'll do the same for the same reasons.
Don't love it. In Minnesota. He's the best running back on that team right now, and I don't know why they don't realize that.
Because NFL teams like to
Because
everything
pass
better than
protection
it is.
matters more than we think it does, I think is what it really comes down to.
I think so. And I think, as we always say, we don't know half of what we think we know. And they're, again, in the locker room and in the complex with these guys every day.
Well, they kind of have that job for a reason, right?
Yep. There's a
Look at
reason why
this.
we're not getting paid millions, right? Start
No,
one
not
QB,
quite.
2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, 1 tight end. This is a 10-team PPR. Need to win to clinch the playoffs. Tua, Dobbs.
So
We're going
quarterback, Tua.
at quarterback.
Yep.
So I know we're going there. So now we
2
got
running
Moss, Mixon, Kyron, Keaton Mitchell at running back. I know Kyron's got to be in there, right?
Yeah.
There's no
Kyron
way
and
that
Mixon.
Kyron.
And Mixon, I think. Maybe Moss, actually. I'll go Moss, sorry.
Yeah, I'll go Kyron and Moss as well. That's tough.
I'll go Kyron and Mixon.
Okay,
I'll go
we're going
Kyron
to
and
flex.
Mixon.
Who we don't go with, we're probably going to flex.
Well, maybe. We've got some wide receiver options here.
I think
So 2 wide receivers. Obviously, Justin Jefferson and Allen are in, right?
Yes,
We can just
so
go
then-
ahead and lock
1000%.
those in.
Yeah.
So now we're at the flex. We've got Flowers, Waddle, Mitchell, Moss,
Kincaid
or
or
Mixon.
Ferguson.
We went a little bit different.
And Kincaid and Ferguson if you can flex a tight end.
So I'll go first. I'm starting Ferguson at tight end. He's a big part of that Cowboys offense right now. I'll go with Ferguson at tight end.
I got Kincaid 1 spot higher.
I will take Kincaid at tight end this week.
So
I like them both a lot. I will take Kincaid at tight end as well.
And then I'm flexing the other running back. I'm gonna have to bench Jalen Waddle here.
I think I'm going to flex Mixon over Waddle, and that would be my choice as well.
I'm a flex
tough.
Waddle over Moss.
I don't hate that either. I'd like to get Waddle in against Tennessee because I think that's how you beat them. The only pause I have is, does Miami go up early on a couple of 70-yard Tyreek Hill touchdowns and then just slow it down? I don't know, but between Moss and Mixon is the running back toss for me. To Bryce's point of usage of Moss earlier, I don't think you can sit that. And Mixon probably has the uptick over Waddle in terms of ball in hand. So I'll go with that.
Apes, I hope we helped you there.
Yeah,
Just
good
so
luck.
everybody knows.
Good roster.
Just so everybody knows, we are going in order. So just hang tight. We will get to your question. We promise. Glock guy, Cup or Collins? Are you worried about the Jets and just plugging Cup in? Because that's probably what I'm going to do in this situation. I'm probably just going to put Cup in there, hope for those 8 targets, and go from there, even though I don't necessarily love it. But Cup is still good. He's just not getting the 15 targets that we're used to.
Yeah, because there's someone else to throw the ball to now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just all it comes down to. Yeah, I'll take Cooper Kupp here, just because of the Jets defense.
I'll take Nico Collins here. Cup playing against Baltimore isn't exactly a K-Cup matchup either. So I think Baltimore can get to the quarterback and make Stafford's life a living hell, and he'll have to use Kyron more. So I just can't trust Cooper Kupp right now, and I never thought in my life I would get to the part where I was starting Nico Collins over Cooper Kupp. That's where I'm at.
Jaws says, start 2, Sutton, Nuke, or recently sick Olave. Well, Olave's in here. If he's active, it's already been announced. I'm going Olave. He's my number 1 here. Then I'm going Sutton.
Yeah, I'm joining you. I think Miami's defense is, with Ramsey now going and Howard on the other side, is seriously legit. Rookie quarterback. I'll take Sutton.
Yeah, they're just going to have to throw the ball a ton today.
Who?
The
Tennessee?
Yeah. Even if it's not going to be quality targets, it's still a lot of volume. I'll go with Nuke. I'll go with Nuke Hopkins. I like the fire we saw from Will Levis making one of the coolest plays ever, like last week with the.
You love him, eh?
Did you see he got hit as he's throwing it, threw an interception, and then freaking stripped the ball from that, didn't recover the fumble. That was pretty cool.
Wow.
Hopkins,
wow. When we're talking about a quarterback, in the conversation is he threw an interception.
It wasn't his fault. I mean, he got hit when he was throwing it. They got hit from behind. I mean, it's not like it was
one of the best plays involved him throwing a pick.
But I just like the
Way
fire.
to go, Levis.
He and Nuke it looked like they had words on the sideline, and then they spoke great about each other after the game. Like this, it was just passion of the moment more than like actual like the animosity towards each other. I wouldn't be surprised.
I liked CJ Stroud when I can't remember who hit him. Someone kind of pushed him late last week.
Oh, Singleton.
And he just got right up in his face and hammered him with his face mask. And I was like, I like this kid more and more every week. But
yeah, I don't trust Will Levis in any game. Miami puts on pressure.
I don't think Denver throws, and Denver doesn't throw enough anyway. Like I know Sutton is the guy for Russell Wilson, but they don't want to throw the football, and they're going to run on the Chargers. So
wait, so you going Sutton or gut Nuke?
I'm still going with Sutton, but I just worry about that one. Like I'm on the fence in those last two, but I'm sitting Nuke. I
worry about Will Levis way more than I worry about.
That's why quarterback makes a difference for me.
Rob Kane says Ford or Gus Edwards in PPR.
It's Ford for me.
Yeah, Ford for me as well.
He's got to score, Rick.
It's really hard. Well, I mean,
he does
really
a lot.
Hard to scare LeGarrette Blount, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's quite at that. That's not a bad comparison. Look at Mr. Edwards here for a second.
I'll go Ford, but I mean, I don't think he's very good either. It's just
no, he's not. But
all the work, but
he gets work everywhere in the pass game, so it helps. I mean, even if Gus Edwards scores, Ford could still outscore him. You know.
Yeah, I'll go with Ford as well.
From week 7 through week 12, Gus Edwards has scored at least one touchdown every week except for week 9.
And he was what? Running back 3 over that time, I think. And all of football.
The only thing that's changed is his touches have dramatically dropped since Mitchell took off, right? So he's still touching the ball 14 to anywhere from 9 to 15 times a game. So
we have 2 super chats.
Ooh. Yeah, Gus Edwards is running back 6 since week 7, which is nuts.
I know where you were at if you didn't see.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't, but I think I do.
I do too.
Good there.
Okay.
So. Taylor Meredith again dropping that super chat 199. Highest ceiling, Brandon Cooks or Olave? I think Olave's got the better ceiling. There's a difference here. Olave doesn't have a CD Lamb to contend with. Brandon Cooks does. He also has a Jake Ferguson that's been pretty good.
Brandon Cooks has a Dak Prescott that Olave doesn't have too.
If you told me,
that's true, but
scores 2 touchdowns today, I would probably guess it would be Brandon Cooks more over Olave. To be honest,
I think the answer is Olave, but it gives me pause because Cooks has heated up the last couple of weeks too, right?
Yeah, I think Brandon Cooks has the highest ceiling, but I don't think Olave's is much lower. And the floors are vastly different.
Well, then come trade for Brandon Cooks in Grand Prix so I can get him off my freaking roster so I don't win this week. I need to lose bad. And Cooks is one of the few that can score points.
I'm just going to stick with Zay Jones instead.
It's a good call, especially with Kirk on IR.
Yeah.
Seems like a terrible.
Sorry, Rick.
Oh, wait. I don't have a choice, okay? I lost freaking Ramondre and JT.
All right, here we go. Let's get talking.
No, this is easy.
This is easy for me.
I bet actually you both are going to say the same thing, and it's the most overrated restaurant. And
it's only actually I can't. I have to exclude myself from this because being a Canadian, I don't have the third option here.
The third option's the option.
No.
Okay.
The third option make me not want to get up the rest of the day. I can eat the first option is the only one where I can probably feel productive the rest of the day. Chipotle.
I had the first option for lunch. I had the first option for lunch yesterday, and it was awesome.
Most overrated restaurant in the United States, chain restaurant, is Chipotle. It is. Oh, it is.
You must have bad ones around you then. I don't know.
No, dude,
I love it.
We have. I mean, maybe it's because we have a bunch of authentic Mexican restaurants around here. But Chipotle overpriced. Food's not that good. Everyone I've ever eaten at ever anywhere.
Papa John overpriced. You get a bowl for $8, $9. How's that overpriced?
Dude, I just don't think it's very good. I have
Yeah, but
never thought Chipotle was good.
Overpriced wouldn't be the word to describe it. I mean,
Well, how about this? My wife and I went to Chipotle for lunch yesterday here in great old Calgary, Canada. 2 bowls and shared a bottle of water, and it was $40.
what?
Welcome to Canada.
Yeah, maybe in Ohio you guys have discounted stuff because y'all.
It's like $8.50 for a chicken bowl. I mean, if you don't eat the extra stuff, cool. But I don't get
Papa John's is straight up trash in my opinion. Chipotle is good, and I haven't had Culver's. So
Culver's is good. It's just a burger. It's just a burger joint.
It's
okay. I just like how
buttery burger joint.
Chipotle's consistent, and consistency's being a restaurant guy, consistency matters to me. I can get Chipotle on the moon, or I can get it in Michigan, and it's just as good either way.
I love it.
We've had different experiences, or maybe my taste buds are just better.
It's okay if you're wrong.
But Culver's,
your taste buds
you can go to Culver's. You can get that mushroom Swiss burger with the Wisconsin cheese curds.
I'm going to the States at Christmas,
and then you're useless the rest of the day.
What do you mean? It's no different if I eat a freaking big thing of rice.
Rice, and you can eat rice and freaking chicken and some cheese and not nearly be as like bloated or.
Carbs are carbs, bro.
Nobody asked if we were going to feel bloated or be productive.
The question isn't which one of these. The question isn't which one of these 3 before I run a marathon. It's the question is which one of these 3.
It's for lunch.
Okay, we need chat.
Yeah.
Chat, you need to drop them in there, and we'll get.
I'm going to the U.S. for Christmas. I'm going to Culver's. Come back. I'll answer this question.
Dude, you tell me. You get their. You can get whatever burger. I get the mushroom Swiss burger.
I love mushroom Swiss guy.
And then give me one of their shakes. Their shakes are amazing as well.
Okay.
So you can pick which shake is your poison. Yes, that's definitely where I'm going out of these 3. And
I want to know what
authentic Mexican restaurants that I've got right here in my little town that are legit and say F you.
I want Taylor to tell us which one of the 3 falls off the list. So what is the 2? Is it Chipotle versus Culver's? Because it should be.
So
that's where we're at. Yep.
Josh says Herbert doesn't pee down his leg, more so into the wind. All over his.
That is very accurate, Josh.
Rob Kane says, if you have a playoff spot locked in, are you dropping any player for a win this week? I'm not sure.
I mean, you could. I mean, if seeding, if you need a win for a potential bye week, then maybe. I mean, it depends who you're dropping. If that's a player that's not going to affect your lineup in the playoffs, then sure, why not?
Yeah,
and you're gonna if that win you do a bye week, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of context kind of needed.
If I'm in.
Okay.
And I don't have a shot at a bye, then I'm not gonna lose anybody that could benefit later.
Right.
Like,
he's saying this because both his tight ends are on bye in the next question, so that's why he's saying.
Yeah. So when I first read it, I'm like why are you dropping a player? Because I didn't read the second part, but that makes sense. Yeah, unless you're playing for a bye, then I'm not. I don't care if I'm the 2, 3, 4, or 5. I want to get in all those situations. You kind of got to have stuff work out right. But if I have a shot at a bye, then I will, because a bye is way more beneficial than needing to play that first week. So
if both your tight ends are on bye this week, and if you don't start 2 tight ends on a weekly basis, then I would take a look at the playoff schedules for both of those. And ultimately what it comes down to dropping a player at this point of the season is I ask myself 2 questions. Am I going to use them in the playoffs? But I also ask the question, is my opponent going to use them in the playoffs? Last thing I want to do is drop someone that my opponent's going to start in the playoffs and beats me with it. So I'm probably just going to take the L this week, play it safe, and keep those guys in your roster.
Seth says, morning, guys. Pollard against Philly or Javonte against the Chargers for running back 2. For wide receiver 3, Jordan Addison versus Las Vegas or Jaden Reed against New York Giants.
Questions?
I'm going Pollard and Jaden Reed.
Pollard.
I like Addison more than Jaden Reed, but I like Jaden Reed's situation with Christian Watson out more than Jordan Addison's with Justin Jefferson coming back.
I'll go with the same ones.
I agree. I think Reed has the potential to be sort of Debo mini-me this week with his rushing and pass-catching abilities. Not a very good defense that he's facing, and a quarterback that has rapport with him and has lost one of his big weapons. So I do like Addison getting a bump with JJ back, but not that much.
I forgot. Yeah, we did both of them. Okay. But Seth follows that up with Dobbs, Flacco, or Browning. Awful QB choices because of my buys. Thanks, guys. This is Dobbs by a landslide for me.
Dobbs for me as well.
Dobbs, Browning, Flacco. But yes, Dobbs.
That would be my order as well.
Yep.
Marco says it's Alec Pierce. Sorry, I forgot there is another Pierce. Yeah.
It's okay, Marco. I figured it out.
Yep. Rob figured that out. We deciphered it and got you in there. T-Law or Minshew?
Minshew for me.
I don't know if T-Law's going to finish that game. I don't even know why he's playing.
I mean, the number one seed. I mean, seeding is huge right now. In the
I guess if they won last week, he might not play this week.
If T-Law's playing, I'm starting him over Minshew. It's just that easy for me.
I got Minshew ranked higher. I'm going to stick with Minshew. I think he lights it up against the Bengals.
Yeah.
T-Law
really doesn't get it done solely with his arm. Like he kind of gets that bump when he can run, and I just don't see that happening today.
The last time we didn't think he could run, when he hurt his knee, he ran for I think 100 yards, his career best.
Yeah,
so who knows?
I don't think they're starting him if he's not good. And he has scored 25 or more points in the last 3 starts. And Minshew has not scored 20 since week 7. So
that's fine.
They're
also playing the Browns today. I know they haven't looked that great, but I mean, if they can get pressure on him today, I just don't know. And that he lost a huge weapon in Christian Kirk, so I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff not tipping T-Law's way today.
I'm with Bryce. You guys should bet
on that one.
You guys should bet this one.
Easy.
All right,
do it, Bryce. Do it, Bryce.
I will. Give me. You betting against Minshew just seems like a wrong move. Okay,
I agree.
Betting against Minshew?
Yeah, look at that guy. You don't bet against someone that looks like that.
Are you guys are you on meth?
Betting. I think. Are you on meth? No, his teeth are way too nice for that. Maybe that's nice. Those teeth are.
That would be meth up. I mean, Gardner Minshew is like the meth version of Trevor Lawrence. If you think
he actually is. But this is also a Gardner revenge game, right?
Oh,
who's he playing against?
Revenge games matter. He's playing against the Jags.
No, the Jags play the Browns today.
Are they? I'm sorry. I thought they were playing each other.
Yeah, he plays the Bengals.
I was like, when did
right.
Yeah.
Sorry, same state, no different.
Yeah.
All good.
I was like, when did he?
Maybe I'm on meth.
Same
anyway,
state. What are you?
He's playing in
Cleveland and Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Oh,
mix the opponents up.
I thought you said he was playing the Jags.
Mm-hmm.
No, I thought the Jags were playing.
No, you thought it was a revenge game. You're all confused now.
Yes, but then I'm looking at the opponents for both of them, and they both play opponents from Ohio. That's my point. Anyway, moving on. Gotcha. I'm Canadian. Give me a break.
Big Boss says, hey, guys, Taysom Hill out. McBride on bye. Would you pick up Jordan from Texas? Yes. We've already answered this one. Literally Everett versus Jordan, and we all went with Jordan.
Yep. Man, I miss McBride this week.
Sarah Riley says half PPR start 2. Mixon, White, Adams, starting Jefferson, Ayuk, and Kamara. I'm sitting Mixon. I still think Rashad White's on fire. Yep. Well, I mean, this is Adams, who has not been on fire this year.
Yeah, last week it was rough, but
you can chuck it on that Minnesota team. I think I'm going to go with White and Adams here.
Yeah, I'll sit Mixon here. Mixon's had one good week this entire year. Adams has had multiple. I mean,
I'm just going to step out here for 1 second, boys.
Adams, since week 7, has scored over 10 points one time.
Well, how many times has Mixon scored over like 12 points, 10, 12 points?
Well, I mean,
well, yeah, if you're going to go with a floor, when it comes down to your flex players, I sometimes like to, I'm going to lean the ceiling here. I don't think their floors are that much different.
Does he have a ceiling? I don't know that Adams has a ceiling right now, which is the opposite of what I thought at the beginning of the year, right? Like I thought Adams was going to be good. He has only scored 20 points one time. Week 3, he's only scored over 10 3 times. Week 2, 3, and 11. I'm going Mixon here. I'm sitting Adams. Mixon at least puts up 10 to 12 points like every week, though, right? Like he's not
Adams the last 3 weeks is 14, 21, 12. I mean, it's not bad.
Am I not on? I'm on standard.
You're not on PPR.
It switched back. Yeah, it switched off of PPR. Damn it.
Yeah. I'll say he's been pretty decent. I mean, he had 13 targets, and 7 targets. I mean, he hasn't seen less than 7 targets since week 6 against New England.
I don't care about targets though if they're not scoring fantasy points.
I know, but
Adams, it's different. But no, it was switched. It was on standard. That's why I was like, that's crazy. Yeah, I'll go with Adams.
Yeah, and it's just a nice little matchup, a little bit better of a matchup today with Minnesota. Have been kind of middle of the pack against wide receivers this year.
Mixon. So going back to Mixon.
Holy crap, we got a lot of questions.
Yeah, I mean it's close. I'll lean Adams a little bit after I got the.
We have 2 more super chats from Taylor Meredith. Or wait, okay. two, not just one from him, then one from Big Boss.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Culver's dead at tight end, Hudson or Granson. He's going with Culver's. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Guess good for just sitting and watching football the rest of the
day.
day.
And then, so are you going to Hudson or Granson?
I'll go with Tanner Hudson.
Me too. He's been consistently getting more action than Granson, right? Like Granson has a big week every now and then, but they've got a bunch of tight ends in Indy that kind of just bounce around week to week.
He hasn't done anything since his post, right?
Well, last week he had 10.4.
Did he? Good for him.
I don't even know if I'm back on PPR or not. Yeah, making sure this doesn't switch.
I actually like Hudson. I picked him up all over the place before Burrow got hurt, and he's staying relevant. Like I said earlier, Browning likes his tight ends and his short yardage passing. So pretty pumped to try Culver's here later this month, and Hudson for me.
Yeah, Hudson has scored 7.5 or more in 4 out of the past 5 weeks, which is what, when you're looking at a matchup like this, it's kind of what you're looking for, right? Like,
yeah.
Micah Parsons has the flu.
Next one is Big Boz. Sorry, his internet's messed up. Jordan. Oh, okay. So we've gone over this Brevin Jordan over Everett.
But what we haven't done,
awesome.
What we haven't done is thanked Big Boz for the $2 super chat, or again Taylor for that last super chat that you put in there. You're gonna have to, make me jealous with that Culver's. I ain't got one close to me that I can just go. I'd be stoked to have that right now. Terry Lee, is this where we left off?
Yep.
Right after Sarah. So we answer Sarah's yes.
Yep.
Terry Lee says Rashad White, Bijan Robinson, Nico Collins, or Keaton Mitchell. If we're picking one, I'm going with Rashad White. Again, dude's been putting up 20 points a week.
Sorry, I was looking at the Culver's website. Damn. I don't know how you get away from White right now.
Yeah, I can't. So week 6, he had 6.8. Then he goes 15.9, 17.9, 27.9, 17.8, 17.8, 13, and 19.6. It's just too consistent. Gets close to 20 points. When we're looking at everybody else here, I want Bijan in my lineups. Nico's got a bad matchup. Keaton Mitchell's an unknown. I'm going Rashad White. He just seems like I'm most confident in him, with Bijan being a close second.
Yep,
Rashad White's running back 5 on the year.
Yeah, I got to go. Rashad White. I got to go. Rashad White. His volume is probably the only person on this list I'm absolutely certain about today. So
I don't know how you get away from White. I'm just gonna keep saying that.
Yeah, I don't think you can. And again, that's one of the guys that I was very low on. That's the opposite that I've had to change my tune on.
I thought he was going to lose his job to Sean Tucker.
Dude, I spent my budget on Sean Tucker all over the place in dynasty leagues and where he wasn't drafted, and that has not worked. Has not worked at all. Laughing, but LMBO. Hey guys, set my whole team. Laugh out loud. That Apes had us do the whole start 3 of the 4 above. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, we're only sitting one.
That's easy.
It's then. Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah, we're sitting Keaton Mitchell. easily.
Yep.
There we go. We got to that. That made it
Oh,
a
that's a good one.
Here we go. I'm gonna let you guys answer this one first.
Go ahead, Sully.
Fields for me. And I have a follow-up when you guys have all answered.
It's it's Fields for me as well. I will say, just out of curiosity, Sully, if the matchups were switched, would your answer change?
No.
Okay. I think mine would.
I think the second option is the better quarterback. I think the first option is the better fantasy play.
Which, yeah, I mean, I think if the matchup was different, I would go with Stroud, but I'm gonna go with Fields here.
Looks like Culver's in Colorado Springs is in my future. Sorry for being distracted. It was on their website.
Let me know.
Yep.
I'm going with Fields as well. Again, from a fantasy perspective, I agree with Sully that Fields is the better fantasy option. And again, Stroud has been good for a rookie, but a lot of that is volume based. When you look at the underlying metrics, a lot of the stuff isn't any better than Fields when it comes to the passing. But
real quick, Fields or Mahomes this week?
I go Fields.
That's my guillotine dilemma.
I go Fields.
Really? I got Mahomes in there right now.
It's close. Those guys would be really close for me, but I think I have Fields like 4 or 5.
Man, Mahomes just hasn't been very good this year.
I have Mahomes at 4 and Fields at 5.
See, that's the part that I don't want to say. I don't want to say that he hasn't been very good.
He hasn't been very good for him, I should say.
But he hasn't had the 30-point weeks that he's he's got one in there, but he used to do that like every 3 weeks, right? Like
he hasn't been having those 3 touchdown games. Those 3 touchdowns.
Who the hell's going to catch the football? Nobody can catch. Even Kelsey's dropping balls this year.
Yeah. So,
hopefully Taylor will be there today.
Detroit's defense isn't good. How'd Fields do against the last time? Did he play, or was that?
Right.
Yeah, he played. He
did pretty good.
That
was Thanksgiving, really
right? Yeah. No.
Was it?
Didn't play on Thanksgiving. 21 against them the last time.
Pretty good.
I'm gonna stick.
Castile says Zay Jones or Adam Thielen.
Zay Jones for me. Adam Thielen is falling off a cliff, and without Christian Kirk, I like Zay Jones quite a bit. Thielen's been pretty rough a lot lately.
Yeah, I think like the past 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, I'm just going to pull him up here real quick.
Really. It's been kind of the emergence of, I mean, it's not really an emergence, but Jonathan Mingo's just been way more involved. It's like
it's only been 2 weeks. He was 8 for 74 in week 11, but one catch for 2 yards in week 12 and 3 for 25 last week.
Yeah.
And change in coaching and offense, right? So until I see it at Adam Thielen now, I can't put him in my lineup as much as I love him.
I just meant like obviously he started off slow, but then he had 5 weeks in a row where he was just dominant, 20 plus all but 1 week, and since then he has not had a 20-point week. He has not been over 50.4 with some random ones in there. So doesn't have the ceiling he had earlier in the year. Has a pretty bad floor that we've seen over the last 2 weeks. And
hasn't scored since week 6.
Yeah, and then we've got Zay Jones, who's going to take the Kirk role and be in a pretty good spot. So I'll go with Zay Jones as well.
Yeah.
Anytime a player's production drops off after the bye, that tells me that the team has decided to go in a different direction, even though the coaching staff changed there, but nonetheless.
Culver's, hands down, face blue smiling.
Rob's on board.
And then we're going to skip ahead of just a little bit because we do. And Olrak says Chipotle equals diarrhea. I mean, that's been my experience with it too. So I'm with you on
They did almost kill a whole bunch of people at one point in their life.
Yeah.
So
I've never been poisoned.
There is Culver's. That. If you guys care about food poisoning, that is in the conversation.
Yeah. Well, that's what
He's more mad at us talking shit about Chipotle than he gets.
Hey, I don't care. I didn't almost die. I don't have that problem. I don't know. I don't have a weak stomach though. So
I had a good juice this morning and I did have Chipotle yesterday. So whatever.
Yeah.
Olrak says full PPR. Need 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. White is in. Henry is in.
I think
Right?
it has to be.
At running back.
It has to be.
Chase.
Yep.
So who's the flex? Thielen, Higgins, Gus.
Or Madison.
OBJ.
Madison's an option, or OBJ.
Thielen.
All right. Henry and White are my running backs. Allen and Chase are without a doubt my wide receivers. I think I'm flexing. Can't trust Aaron Jones, so he's out.
I'm thinking OBJ.
It's OBJ or Gus, I think. Gus is risky. He's too touchdown dependent. OBJ's been good. Yeah, that's where I'm going. I'm with you, Rick.
I'm going OBJ as well.
I'll go with Gus.
That was my next one.
Olrak follows it up. 6 points. TD. Start T-Law, Goff, or Love. This one I'll take Law out of. I'm going Goff.
I'm going Love.
I will go Goff.
Goff outside in chillier temperature, not so good.
DM Fresh. Pick 2. Swift, Hubbard, ETN, Gibbs.
I'm ETN and Gibbs here. I'm just going to look at my rankings.
ETN's definitely number one. I mean, geez.
ETN and Gibbs for me as well. Gibbs has been so damn good, so damn efficient. If they just gave him all the touches, it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys might struggle to run against you guys today, so they might have to throw a little bit more. I know Monty's got a bit of a revenge angle here, but I think Gibbs gets more touches than normal this week.
Yeah, Monty could be salvaged by 20 carries, 60 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So he could have 2 yards of carry and a couple touchdowns. So I'm definitely
Bears don't give up a lot of rushing touchdowns, but
right. But
I wouldn't be surprised at all if Chicago wins.
So yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised at all if Chicago beats Detroit again today.
Trevor Lawrence playing? Is Trevor Lawrence playing today? Yes, he is. If so, would you start him over Russell Wilson? No.
Nope.
Josh says Baltimore D has been great this year, but playoff schedule looks pretty poor. Drop and ride out Green Bay's juicy end of season matchups.
Off the top of my head, I'm going to say no, but I don't know what those matchups are for either group. But I think as the weather gets colder and grosser, Baltimore's defense might get even better. So
let's see. Baltimore schedule.
I don't know who they're playing, though.
So Baltimore 15, 16, 17 has Jaguars, 49ers, and Miami Dolphins. So they've got kind of some good offenses.
Well, Miami won't do anything against a good team.
What'd you say?
Miami doesn't do anything against good teams.
Oh, give me Green Bay.
Who's Green Bay got in the playoffs?
I'm looking for Green Bay right now. They're way down here on the DST list.
That's a horrible end of season playoff matchup, though.
Bucks, Carolina, and Vikings.
Give me the Ravens.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with the Ravens too. I just think they're way better defense.
Green Bay's peaked and they're about to fall off. Fucking hate the Packers.
Me too. We call it Chipotle.
That's actually pretty funny. That's a good one.
Oh, so Taylor actually works in Ohio, lives in Fort Wayne. There. He's definitely saying it's cheaper over there in Ohio.
And he says cheaper than here in Fort Wayne. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
you guys have jobs in Ohio, or why is it cheaper in Ohio?
I don't know. Got a bunch of crackheads. I don't know.
Maybe the taxes are different. I don't know.
It's messed up over there in Ohio.
Walking around working and
yelling at people, punching people in the face, and telling them how great Ohio State is, and kicking them and walking away.
Yeah, I can't do it. That's what it's like.
Full PPR: Jackson Smith and Jigba or Romeo Dobbs.
I'll take JSN here.
I will take Dobbs. Well. I'll bet on that too.
I'll take it.
I'll take JSN. He's just getting all the targets now.
Dobbs without Watson and Love loves him. Yeah, give me Dobbs.
But he still has.
I think Jaden Reed might be loved. I think Jaden
Reed's their number one with Watson out. Sure.
He might be, but I still like Dobbs over the number 3 in Seattle with a backup quarterback potentially.
I don't think he's the number 3. That's what I'm saying.
Could be Drew Lock though too.
He's if you're going by targets, he's the number 1.
Yeah, I go by results. That's okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess so.
Well,
Targets lead to results, so you're not wrong.
But it hasn't been Lockett.
If you're going by results, he's number 2 then. Yeah. If you're going by results, he's got to be number 2 as of recently.
If you guys want to use numbers and facts to argue with me, fine.
Well, I'm just saying Tyler Lockett's last 5 games, 6.2, 23.2, 10.10, 6, and 9.7. He's just JSN's just been kind of eating into his action there.
Yeah, Lockett's usually Mr. Consistency, so that's a little surprising, but age and a bit of a gimpy hamstring. JSN is a great football player. Like, I love watching him with the ball in his hands. I just think Dobbs has more upside and a higher floor. Based on the circumstances.
He also runs the shorter routes, and I think Geno just, that's why he gets a lot more targets. He's closer to the line of scrimmage. I feel like the other two are running more medium to deeper routes on a consistent basis, which is why probably JSN targets are higher. I like the Packers against the Giants versus the Niners, or Seahawks versus Niners component of this as well. Anyway, another $5 for Sully. What are you gonna do? I got to be able to afford that Culver's. I need all the money I can get.
Right, Bryce, take us to the next one, would you? I'm checking all my lineups here real quick because I'll stay on.
I got it though. Let's see here.
I'm trying to make sure I don't have any trade offers because it closes at 1:00, and
I keep getting trade offers for Brock Purdy, and they get worse every time I get an offer in one of those bonus leagues. So I just declining them all.
Right, that's like Mike Vanderhoon. Every offer he sends me just gets worse and worse. And
here's a little public service announcement. 3 shitty players doesn't equal a good player, guys. Like, I don't care how many crap pieces you want to add to their side.
Analytics say
there's 7 guys I'm giving you. Yeah, and 6 of them don't even play football. Like, forget it.
6 of them don't even play football. Half-point PPR, Tyler Algier, Devin Singletary. It's got to be Singletary right now. He's getting more action, right?
Yeah.
It's starting to lean a little bit more Dameon Pierce again, which hurts me because I have a bunch of Singletary, but it's still Singletary in this scenario. I don't know who Atlanta's playing, but we need them to lose. Tampa. Go Tampa.
T-Law, or I assume
get fired.
I don't know if this Dobbs or Daubs.
It's got to be Dobbs. Well, it doesn't have to be, but I think it is.
Yeah.
I would say.
And I'm on Dobbs here.
Me too.
I'll take Dobbs as well. Texans or Packers defense today?
Houston gets what? The Jets in the rain? That's pretty nice. And the Packers get the Giants in.
And the hell are they playing? And they get Zach Wilson too. That dude's a pick 6 magnet.
Zach Wilson. What a story.
Texans.
I think I will take the. Well, I'll just let my rankings decide. I was going to say Packers, but let me see.
What was I doing?
I have Houston 2 spots higher. I'll take the Texans D.
Okay.
Or Zach Wilson.
Is Kraft out there? Oh, talking to Taylor Meredith.
So I think that's, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a nice pickup right now. It's a good call, Jaws.
JSN, Dobbs, or Tyler Lockett?
Dobbs. And you guys will be JSN.
I'm JSN here.
Yep.
TD only league for Jonathan Tilley. Gus
Nice.
Edwards or Bijan Robinson. It's got to be Gus, right? I mean, geesh, dude scores a ton.
Might take him first overall in a TD only league.
Yeah, at this point.
Right.
Probably one of the top 3 running backs in a TD only league.
Yep.
I'm with you.
Outside of McCaffrey. Mahomes or Prescott. I'm going Dak.
I got Dak higher this week. I got Dak at 2. I had Dak at 1 last week.
Is Dak QB1 this year?
No, I think Allen still is. At least points per game. I'll look real quick. I think he's behind Hurts as well.
I don't know who they're talking about here.
Okay, I'm good.
I got the superstar tag on.
Dak's 3 behind Allen and Hurts. Sam Howell's 4.
I don't know what this means.
He's probably talking about Thielen from all the targets he was getting. I'm assuming that's who you might be talking about.
Maybe. Hey, good choice, Taylor. Chipotle for the win. Let's go.
What happened, Taylor? I thought you were all over the Culvers.
You should know Taylor. You don't want to align your taste with Taylor's taste.
Hey, Chipotle is good. I mean, it's good for fast food. I always tell people, like, it's like if I want to go sit down somewhere, it's not the place I choose, but it's like if I want to get something to go, if it's around, it's probably my number one option. Just how it is. I've
never, ever been.
I could eat it 5
when
days
I
a
get
week.
food. When I get food to go, I'm almost always driving, and I can crush a burger while I'm driving a hell of a lot easier than I could do a burrito or a bowl. So
that's true. Yeah, I usually don't eat while I drive.
God, I'm hungry right now. Thanks a lot,
what a
Taylor.
Responsible adult.
I eat Chipotle leg day because it gives me the runs. Sounds like maybe this is an old people problem. I don't know.
Hey, I like Chipotle, and I'm as old as dirt.
Bobo's number one. Yeah.
What's that about?
Jake Bobo. Jake Bobo.
Jake Bobo.
Oh, Seattle. Gotcha.
Sorry, I thought we were still talking about food.
Oh yeah, no.
Brees Hall here, but let's not get this listed. It's Brees Hall.
Brees.
Hey, so the answer is Brees Hall, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if McKinnon scores more points this week.
No, it wouldn't be that crazy.
I don't think Pacheco out helps McKinnon all that much.
No, I think it's Brees is banged up and Cook getting a little bit more work like he did last week.
Oh, okay. I mean,
we went McKinnon, and the Jets are not exactly going to score, right? Like they hadn't scored in a month with Zach Wilson. So I don't even think that's an exaggeration. I think it was almost 4 games that they didn't score an offensive touchdown when he was a quarterback.
No, I'm just laughing at Zach Wilson.
I feel so bad for that kid.
I do not.
I do. They should have traded him when they got Rodgers.
Wait, let's make sure I'm back on PPR. Okay, PPR.
We already went Dobbs on this one earlier, so
dude, McKinnon's only scored more than 10 points twice this year. One was in week 3.
Yeah.
He hasn't scored over 5 in any of those other ones, and I don't think that Pacheco really helps him a lot. So I'm.
But the situations are much different now. Oh, they're pissed. Something about.
Didn't like your.
Guys can set up.
What's this one here? 7 and 6. Are you sure about Kenneth Walker and CEH over Dylan? I am. Non-PPR.
I'm starting them.
I'm starting CEH.
Yeah, and Kenneth Walker. Off topic. Any thought that Mike Tomlin is a tad bit overrated?
No.
Nope. Guy's legit.
Not for me. Not for me. I think situations change, coordinators change. Canada was really bad. I think that's partly on Tomlin for sticking up for him for as long as so. But I think when you look at some of the guys that Tomlin kept in check while they were in Pittsburgh and what happened after they left, you kind of see his the power of his coaching, right? Like Antonio Brown, you had stuff that happened, but it wasn't crazy. As soon as he leaves, crazy. Keeps Pickens together somehow. I think Pickens is somebody we're going to see be one of those guys that people will wonder about. But
I think he moves on pretty quick here.
Too much winning.
I look at a situation where, and I agree, he wears the Mac Canada. He owns that. But let's be realistically, this is probably the most loyal organization in football. Mike Tomlin is their 3rd coach in the last 54 years. So for him to hang on to a guy and give him a chance doesn't surprise me. But I could tell you right now, if you ask anybody that ever has been or is a Minnesota Vikings fan, if they would have wished that they would have kept Mike Tomlin versus letting him go to Pittsburgh, what do you think the answer would be?
Oh, yeah.
The guy's awesome.
I mean, yeah, players play and coaches coach. And at this level, it's so hard to be a good coach if you don't have the personnel, and quarterback's the number one, right? And
look at your coach. Look at your coach, who's arguably the best ever.
And people always say this, like, look, why is Belichick suck now? It's like Belichick's a defensive coach at the end of the day. He doesn't really have an offensive mind. I think Tom Brady was that offensive mind, which is why they were so successful. But the one thing the Patriots have always had good is a good defense, and I think that's attributed to Belichick. He just needs help on the offensive side, and the coordinators and quarterbacks that he's had since Brady's left has not been the answer. And
anybody who makes Matt Patricia his offensive coordinator clearly doesn't have an offensive mind.
Right.
Bill
yeah. And
Bill
that's what it
Belichick
comes
is
down
going to be
to.
one of the biggest question marks in the NFL history because he was not good at all before Tom Brady. He has not been
He
very
did-
good after Tom Brady.
I mean, he did take Mac Jones to the playoffs this first year, and then it's just gone downhill since then. And that's offensive coordinator change since then as well. That was, and I think that's like
Right, but now you're giving credit to that. Right, but now you're giving credit to that to the offensive coordinator and with Belichick running that team. But hold on. Yeah. Belichick's ran that team. Those were his choices.
Yes.
That's the issue with the head coaches, right? They're the ones, especially him, making those.
To me, that's the key. I don't have a problem with Bill Belichick, the head coach. I have a huge problem with Bill Belichick, the player personnel and GM guy.
It's the same thing we said with Bill O'Brien, right?
That's where the things have fallen off for the Patriots, in my opinion. And, I feel bad for you guys. You haven't put a flag up in, 4 years?
So now Belichick lost. Yeah.
If Belichick leaves and is gone, the Patriots defense will not be what it is. We'll find that.
Well, and he's gone. He's going to go to Washington or something next year.
What happens when you have Belichick and Bill O'Brien exchanging ideas on how to what players to sign and trade, and that's probably not going to be a very good combo there.
No, not a lot of good moves made by O'Brien either.
Both good coaches, terrible GMs.
Yes.
Oh, Kyle said, yeah, that was Thielen that he was referring to in that last one. Social Worker says also, how on a buy, Geno hurt. I got Minshew, Ritter out there, and O'Connell, Flacco, and a couple others are stuck with Minshew, not PPR. I go with Minshew out of all those other options.
Yeah.
Their biggest mistake, in my opinion, was taking Claypool over Hurts because Ben was still there. Our window is like 2 years behind. I remember when all that happened, and again though, Claypool was a good prospect. That's the one guy they couldn't keep together, right? Like his is all in the head. I think as the prospect, it was all right, but nobody thought Hurts was going to be this.
But it's also another example of the Steelers recognizing what they have in a player and get rid of him.
Oh yeah. But I'm just saying in that draft, Hurts wasn't highly coveted. People weren't thinking Hurts was going to be this, right? That wasn't the narration around Hurts. So it's easy to look back and think that. But Claypool was the rising prospect at that time, and Hurts didn't have that.
Yeah, Claypool had a crazy season at Notre Dame, if I remember correctly, his final year there, and Hurts had been bounced around and replaced, and was a second-round quarterback, which are hit and miss. So I don't disagree at all.
Yeah, and Claypool just dominated all the preseason stuff that year because he was that tall, that big, that fast. People before the combine, people thought he was going to have to change the tight end. They didn't think he was fast.
Yes.
And then he runs a 4.39 or whatever he ran, a 4.4 at that size, and everything changed. But yeah, it's just a lot easy looking back now and saying, oh, well, you didn't take somebody or you took somebody over Hurts. And it's like, well, Hurts wasn't a good quarterback prospect. Most people weren't fans of his, but he's a hard worker and he fixed the stuff that he needed to fix. So credit to him. Losing to Bortles and Tebow and Baker in the playoffs is rough. I get that Minnesota thing, but 10-7, 9-8 year after year for what? I'm just butthurt losing to the Cards and Pats.
Yeah, I heard a stat that the Steelers hadn't lost a home game to a 10-loss team in I can't remember how long, and they just did it back-to-back weeks. So that's interesting. But I'll say this, you got 6 Super Bowl titles in Pittsburgh, so if you're looking for this Minnesota fan to feel sorry for you, you came to the wrong place.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for Patriots or Pittsburgh. Sorry. Still love you guys, but
thanks for being here. I was like, crap all over you.
I want them to suck today, or the rest of the year. But
Goff in chilly Chicago or Russell Wilson in LA sunshine?
Goff for me. Here.
Goff for me.
Goff for me.
Social Worker and turn Claypool into JPJ, who's pretty good. Hurts, though, with Deontay and George, with TJ and Minka. But yeah, I obviously now seeing Hurts and what he's doing, I agree. That would look really good for Deontay and George. I don't think Hurts is the same with those two as he is with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, though.
The worst thing that could happen to the Steelers, I think, did, and that was Pickett getting hurt after you made that change, because it looked okay in the first week. You don't get enough runway here with Pickett to decide what you're going to do. So I think the Steelers are stuck with Kenny for one more year. Hopefully it works out, and then you reboot. Those wide receivers, I think Pickens might go, but DJ's sticking around. It's a wide receiver factory, that team.
Very true. Whenever they draft a wide receiver, I take note. I can tell you that because they've been pretty good at identifying those.
I like Calvin Austin too. He's just small.
We don't have Jason Kelsey or Landon Johnson, but I want another Super Bowl. You know what? Let us Chicago.
I have one.
Let us
have one
Chicago
before you get
and
your
Minnesota fans get one here, right? Like,
just want one before you get your 7th. I don't think that's being too greedy.
I one in my lifetime.
Well, you and me both.
I haven't had one of those.
Dick up there with laughing his ass off. He's been winning Super Bowl since he was 4.
Fuck off.
Hey, it is. I will say.
How old were you when they won their first Super Bowl, Bryce?
5.
Yeah,
4?
like you don't even know what pain is.
4? I think I was 4.
Yeah, shut up.
So I didn't really know.
Other than living in Ohio, you don't even know what pain is.
I hope you slip, fall, and shit your Chipotle all over yourself.
I'm probably getting Wendy's today. Not much better, but that's the only option around.
Oh, you don't have a Culver's around?
No, not really that close to here. There used to be one. There used to be one in Springfield, but it shut down. Anything nice that comes to Springfield doesn't last. So we're too many heroin addicts.
They're like, right? They're like, that's not methed up enough.
Yeah, no, we want our Taco Bell and our Wendy's. That's it.
Social worker says
T-Wolves are good.
I
wish I cared about that, but they are good.
Yeah, I don't care about the NBA either, but it's funny watching my Bulls. They're better without Zach LaVine than they are with him. All right. Y'all see that new McDonald's chain opening?
No.
I did. I
what is
don't
it?
remember the details, but they do have a new chain that they're going to be opening.
You know, Chipotle was once a McDonald's entity, hey?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these are owned by the same holding companies.
Yeah. Like McDonald's at one time was the owner of Chipotle, and then they sold it off.
I think
after they killed all those people.
I think the holding company still owns all those, though.
Buffalo Wild Wings is owned by Arby's. A lot of people don't know that.
They closed all their Canadian locations last year.
Really?
Yeah, it's just too expensive up here. It's a shitty country.
It's horrible. Like, or at least around here, the service is just like the worst. You get like 17, 18-year-old kids that just don't care. So
my brother traveled the country opening up Buffalo Wild Wings for
cool environment, cool thing. But
I love the concept.
They must pay their employees crap because their turnover rate is just horrid.
Well, I mean,
that's the industry. Really,
tell you reasons of why. It's because it's the early 20s kids that are partying, and I mean, I watched it because he worked there. Custer didn't work there. His sister worked there. A bunch of our friends worked at B-Dubs in our early 20s, and I know exactly why they have a lot of turnover. It's because that's kids in their early 20s. Time to crank on Red Zone. Good luck on the bets, everyone. Thank you, Kyle. See you next Sunday, 11 a.m. Thanks for keeping us busy today. We will see you next week.
It's a coffee.
Good luck, everybody.
See you guys.